Hi everyone, my name is Renee. I'm the student recruiter advisor for North Island College based out of the Campbell River campus. And today I'm thrilled to have David Nilsson joining me, who is our main instructor for our Aircraft Structures program. Hey David,
Hello, Renee.
how are you
Lovely day.
doing?
Not bad. Not bad.
Thank you
Keeping
so
up.
much for joining me. So
No,
today
no
we are
worries.
doing a bit of a virtual info session on your program, which is the Aircraft Structures Technician, or better known as Aircraft Maintenance Engineer with a structural focus, correct?
Correct.
Awesome.
Yep.
So this program is offered at the Campbell River campus. It starts in September every year. So our next cohort is going to be fall 2020. So coming up here pretty quickly. And it's about 40 weeks in length. But David, did you introduce the program in this industry to our future students?
Well, uh, my pleasure. So there's a huge need for employees in the aerospace industry in virtually every single uh, job classification. And aircraft structures, aircraft maintenance engineers are really needed right now. What we do is we prepare students for the industry by complying with a Transport Canada approved training procedure. In that procedure, we learn about theory of flight. We've got uh, sheet metal, composites, wood, every single material that an aircraft is made out of, we learn to understand on a theory basis and on a practical basis in terms of manufacturing and maintaining and repairing these types of components. There's a huge component of theory with this course. We learn electrical, hydraulic, some physics, different loads, lots of new language. It's really deep and it's fun and it's spaced out over 1,000 to up to 1,200 hours of lessons.
Yeah, fantastic. And what I also love about this program is you're working with a lot of different materials. So composite, wood, fabric, welding, like it really seems like you're doing a little bit of everything in this course. So it's so cool when I walk into your shop and, one week students are working on this material and then the next week they're working on something different. So there's a lot of diversity and skill in materials that you teach your students.
Definitely. It looks like we'll be undergoing a carbon fiber based composite project here in the near future. So we're really working on increasing our carbon fiber and Kevlar and those sorts of things, and we'll be including fiberglass and all that as well. So staying with the modern, but we still learn to work with wood and fabric, and of course most airplanes are still made out of aluminum. We focus very much on aluminum skills, knowledge, and real airplanes.
Yeah, fantastic. So before we dive too deep into this program, the industry, I do want to just briefly talk about the mission requirements. So really what we're looking for to get into this program is a C plus in your English 11 and a C plus in your Principles Math 10 or equivalent. So you'll see a list of all these different course offerings or classes, that we use for admission requirements. You just need one of them, not all of them. So one of the Englishes, one of the maths. High school graduation is preferred, but it is not required. There are separate admission requirements for international students. So if you are an international student, please reach out to our Office of Global Engagement for some support there. And I also just want to talk about, David, you've seen a lot of diversity, different backgrounds of students coming in your class. We've seen students straight from high school, maybe people mid-career coming in. So we also do assessments to determine your admission into this program. We do prior work experience and prior learning, but it's a lot of diversity and people are coming into your classroom with an array of backgrounds and experiences, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's really an industry for anybody. You don't need to be um, an extremely strong, large person to manage this industry. You can be any size, any gender, anything. It doesn't really matter. The industry wants everybody, and it's not requiring massive amounts of human like strength or anything. It's really knowledge and skills.
Yeah. And also just to add, if you don't meet those admission requirements, we do have upgrading. Just reach out to us and we can get you on track upgrading all subjects. And the nice thing is tuition free at the moment. But let's kind of dive back into aircraft maintenance engineer. So I just went into the BC labor market outlook this morning and just got some really interesting stats. And you alluded to this right when we started, is this is a booming industry. There's a lot of employment opportunities. So as you can see here, the 10-year expected job openings over 1,000 for the BC market. Do you have anything to add to this and kind of what you're seeing in industry?
I can't help but think that these are conservative numbers. I think that those numbers are going to go up. We need to replace retiring people in this market, and I would have to say those are pretty conservative numbers, but at the same time, they're pretty optimistic too. They're nice.
Yeah. And then also they also provide average earnings. So what you might expect once you finish this program. Now this is just a snapshot, median, so an average salary range that you can see here. So the low end, entry levels around $20 an hour, median, mid-career 30, and then upward high. But David, you work with industry, you talk with them all the time, you work with our local employers. What are you seeing on this front and potential earnings for graduates of your program?
Yeah, I've seen everything from employers offering to pay the students tuition for their training to being paid, more than $20 an hour even as a starter. So one can expect when you get away from high population densities that your wages would probably go up, which is a factor in this. But a very experienced quality AME with an S ticket would get probably more than $43 an hour, and it all depends on where you find yourself in this industry. But there's so much competition right now for staff that I don't know. I think the opportunities are growing and they're getting better all the time.
Yeah, definitely. So this next slide shows a regional job outlook. So I just selected Vancouver Island Coast because obviously that's where we are located, being on the North Island. But just in this region alone, the expected job number of openings is 130. And again, I think these are probably conservative estimates, but there's a lot of option if you want to leave the coast. You don't have to stay here. I mean, we got it pretty good. But regionally across British Columbia and really across the world, there's a lot of opportunity. And David, yourselves, individuals who've taken this globally. Do you want to speak to that and the range of experience that students can achieve after they get this ticket?
Yeah, this $31 billion aerospace industry in which we find ourselves operates Canadian registered aircraft all over the world. So wherever they happen to be operating, Coulson in Australia, Avmax in Africa, you could be up in Yellowknife or Port McNeill or wherever, there are opportunities globally.
Definitely. My dad actually has his AMES ticket, and he worked in Bolivia for a few years as well. So, and he did that mid-career. So there's a lot of different opportunities. If that's something you aspire to do, is travel or work abroad. This ticket is eligible to allow you to do that as well.
Yeah.
This is just a sample job posting I saw. This is a real posting that was on Work BC's website this morning. So Island Express Air, you're familiar with this company, but look at they're starting there between $35 and $40 hourly. And they are looking for an AME ticket. Do you want to kind of elaborate on this? And then I've got another one by Sea Land Aviation, which is a company that we know that we have some alumni at as well.
Yeah, great examples of just a few of the many job postings that are out there, especially if you look Canada-wide. And both great places to work, and you can see that the numbers aren't so bad either.
Hmm. And you had mentioned you had just recently popped into Sealand Aviation and saw some of our students there working away.
Yeah, the Sealand has been hiring North Island College graduates very consistently, and it's good local employment. Colson Air Crane, same thing, or uh, Viking, some small aircraft operators that may have one or two aircraft maintenance engineers. Lots of people get local employment if that's what you're after. And at any rate, it's always a great place to start.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk a little bit more about your classroom, that learning experience that students are going to get. So one of the things NIC is, really passionate about is the fact that we have expert faculty who know their industry, are invested in it, but also we cap our classes. So 16 is usually the cap for a trades class, and the reason we do that is to allow lots of hands-on learning, a lot of access to your faculty. So David, do you want to talk about what it's like to be a student in your classroom and what students can expect from that experience?
Well, you can expect a lot of every day, a minimum of an hour and a half of theory, where we'll learn. A lot of it is language, where we uptake a lot of new terminology and ideas, whether it's in physics or aerodynamics or theory of flight or electronics, whatever. And we apply that to the aircraft, and then we spend the 4.5 hours on the floor actually physically learning procedures and getting some maintenance done on some real airplanes.
Yeah. And it's really those hands-on skills that employers are really looking for. So you need to be learning in an environment that allows you the maximum amount of time on tools and applying the theory that you're learning.
Yeah, we want people to go into the industry and succeed from an early stage. So we do put an emphasis on the more common types of aircraft structures and skills, so that when they get out there, they're going to be able to generate revenue for their employer in very short order.
Great. So carrying on, so one of the big things we're excited about with this program at the Campbell River campus is we've just undergone some major renovations, including a brand new aircraft shop. So that's what you see here on the screen. And I feel like the photos don't really do the space justice on how big it is and how much equipment in here. So do you want to talk about the shop and what you're excited about? And I can go through some of the images.
Yeah, as you can see, there's a student in the middle of the floor, which gives you an idea of scale. CNC table on the left and some other equipment around. We have so much space right now, and with a maximum of 16 students, we are able to work without being in each other's space, which is important right now. And we've had lots of room to position the equipment. The ventilation's fabulous. The lighting is amazing. We got lots of windows, lots of glass. We open the doors and sometimes just get the fresh air coming in. It's a very, very safe, very effective workplace.
Hmm. And one of the biggest perks to our shop, aside from the increased ventilation and safety protocol, is our new paint booth. Can you share a little bit
Yes.
about that?
Well, a $350,000 downdraft paint booth where it's so effective. It has a baking cycle and everything, so it completely isolates the students from the volatile organic compounds and whatnot that you might get in protective coatings. In other words, paint, right, and primers and things like that. So very, very good for safety. Very, very good for the quality of the job being done too.
So in here, as you can see, like there's an airplane or parts of airplane in the
Yeah.
shop right now. But I also, what I love is along the side of the shop, there's these multiple workstations for students to, have their tools up, have their plans out, reference textbooks, and as they're working on their projects. Is there anything else you want to add about the shop and what you're seeing, is benefiting students learning in this space?
Yeah, I mean the quality of of the installation for everything from the air, the supply of air, the supply of fresh air, ventilation, all the tools being hooked up to vacuums is outstanding. So you have a really good opportunity to apply yourself without worrying about inferior materials and infrastructure. You can see those two wings are quite large and they're just sort of dwarfed by the shop, right?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing when you guys brought that plane in. I was like, wow, it looks like so much smaller now.
Yeah, it's tiny in there now. It used to take up most of the shop. And here we are working on a real live airplane part, and we're just planning right now how to what sort of order of events it takes for us to put the pneumatic and electrical systems back into that assembly. And on the right there is a CNC machine doing a little bit of carving out of some plywood bits that we were using in the wooden wing.
Yeah, and here's the CNC machine. And so students learn how to use all this technical equipment as well in your program.
Yeah, there's a student, he made an AutoCAD drawing, he took it into Aspire, he created an NZ file, and then he cut out an airplane part on that thing, and then he installed it.
Very cool.
After,
I see you guys getting creative here as well. Can you actually
very
maybe
much
speak
so.
to that? Because in our conversations, you really emphasize that a lot of what, with aviation, there's obviously some strict protocols, how to do things, what things should look like. But can you maybe speak about the opportunities for creativity for those students who really love that part of their process?
Yeah, well, you can imagine that with any given repair procedure, it'll be slightly different depending on who's going to do it. So there is a creative input to complying with the needs of Transport Canada and the aircraft manufacturer, but there is a huge creative side to this in that you get to plan out your repairs and everything and comply with documented procedures, which are rock solid, but that doesn't mean there is only one way to do it. So I always likened it to, I can spot some people's repair work and just know who did it, right? Just by the way things are laid out and everything. And so there's a huge learning curve and a creative side to this. And then of course you apply it elsewhere in your life. And next thing you know, last year we made a bunch of Santas on the CNC machine. So
some opportunity for fun in the classroom for sure is always
absolutely
important.
Yeah.
So I do want to just talk about some aspects of the program, specifically the cost of the program. So on here, you're going to see domestic fees. So the tuition is the cost of the actual course, so the program. The various fees, so NICU, student union, lab is just like maintaining our lab space. Health and dental students automatically get opted into it. There is an option to opt out. But I do want to just talk about this books line. This is a high estimate cost. So we assume like the highest potential cost for this program just for planning purposes. But David, do you want to kind of maybe give a bit of a breakdown what students can expect for like book costs or like gear, like their coveralls and safety equipment perhaps?
Yeah, I mean, we are mandated to wear protective footwear, and after that, I basically wear comfortable street clothes and occasionally a smock. If a person wants to wear coveralls or anything else, then by all means go for it. But safety glasses and safety footwear are the only required PPE. Mm-hmm. And here the books is way overestimated. I don't think we exceeded $250 last year.
Great, so that's good. Again, this is a quote for planning purposes only. There are separate fees for international students. So if you are an international student, again, just reach out to our Office of Global Engagement. But as a college, we provide financial aid advisors. So these are dedicated folks to help you with your financial planning, whether it's making a budget, applying for loans, applying for scholarships, bursaries. There's a lot of different grants for trades as well. So just know that we work really closely with students to support you, your financial health and well-being, because obviously that's a huge, has huge impact on your overall success as a student. We do have an open application right now for our scholarships and bursaries that is closing April 29th, but financial aid support and advisors are accessible year round. So if you do find yourself in need, just connect with us and we're happy to help you out. We also
Yep.
have a broader range of student services. So not only do you have David, and in a pretty tight-knit classroom, right? There's only 16 people. You can ask David a lot of questions. You're going to learn from your peers in your class. But we have services to support you outside of the classroom as well. So that might be looking like advisors to help kind of career pathways, employment services. We actually have people who can help you write your resume, prepare for interviews, with personal counseling, Aboriginal advisors. We have a Department of Accessible Learning that provide a wide range of supports and services for students and their different learning needs. And we also have our library and learning commons. So that includes like peer tutoring, writing, math support, tech services, which I use weekly, research support.
Yeah.
And then David, you were mentioning one of your students right now is actually essentially a peer tutor for other students in his class because he's got
Correct.
such a high level of math comprehension.
Correct. And among other things, yeah, so this person's been helping with the peer tutoring. Very much so, can be a real make it or break it for a lot of people. Student services, the counseling, the financial aid, all really big parts in getting people in and through the course. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. And again, these are services that you have access to as an NIC student. So please reach out to us. So kind of with conclusion, I guess, both my and David's contact information is up on the screen. Please feel free to reach out to us with any questions. We love chatting with students and help you figure out if this is a good fit of a program for you. So if you have general NIC questions, you need support getting your application going or whatever that is, feel free to reach out to me. And then of course, David's available for more program specific, industry specific questions. So we really hope that this, helps provide some insight to the program. David, did you have anything to add before we wrap up today?
Well, I'm almost never at my phone, so please use the email and then we can line up a time for a phone chat or Zoom or whatever. And talk about anything that you're interested in. I'm passionate about my industry and I want to spread that around.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you so much, David. It's always a pleasure to chat with you. And like I said, I refer students to David all the time, and he's always willing to chat with students. So please don't hesitate to reach out. We really hope that you're interested in this program in the industry because there's lots of opportunity in it. But with that, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and that we see you in the aircraft shop this September. So have a good one, everyone.
Yep, do it. Start the adventure.
Bye.
See ya.